Hello, I'm Attorney Lewis S. Haskell, and I want to talk today about what the IRS calls paid preparer due diligence. This is something that the IRS frankly made up 7 years ago, in which they decided that tax preparers should make a determination as to whether or not taxpayers are entitled to take the Earned Income Tax Credit. That's that really sweet tax credit that relatively low-income people get when they claim their children. And more importantly, that we should tell the IRS what documents we looked at in making that determination. And then based on that, the IRS decides who they want to audit. This caused a lot of conflict between me and my clients 7 years ago, but not so much on that one anymore because, well, not a single one of my clients got audited in many years after the IRS put in that requirement. However, the IRS likes the program so much they keep expanding it. So they added on the child tax credit, the additional child tax credit. They made us do our due diligence for head of household status. Now we have, and of course the American Opportunity Tax Credit. Now that we have something called the Other Dependent Tax Credit, that's the $500 tax credit you can get for claiming pretty much anyone who lives with you and you support. The IRS now wants us to do our due diligence on that as well. And once again, they want us to tell them what documents we looked at and, in making the determination that our clients are entitled to take these tax credits. This, as I say, has become a bit of a pet peeve for me, in part because I take it seriously, because in part I know what happens when you don't. One of the nice things about being a lawyer, in addition to an enrolled agent and tax preparer, is that when people have problems with the IRS, they come to me. And I have people who come to me because they're being audited, several $1,000s of tax credits are being challenged. And oh, by the way, if the IRS challenges this year, they'll go back and challenge the tax credits in the past. So, sometimes people come to me and they've got $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, well, not 30, but close, tax credits being challenged. And I look at the tax return and I see that their preparer indicated that they looked at no documents whatsoever, or just saw the client's W-2 form or something, and that's all they put down. And that's a big red flag. It becomes an even bigger problem because in the last couple of years, the IRS has massively expanded its enforcement budget. When the IRS first created the Paid Preparer Due Diligence program, they were having a big fight with Congress. Basically, the IRS had been, denying tax-exempt status to various conservative groups. The Republicans controlled Congress. The Republicans were mad about that, and they annihilated the IRS's budget, and the IRS just had no resources for enforcement. Well, that fight is over, and the Congress is actually fully funding the IRS now. This is part of why they were able to get out the stimulus checks as quickly as they did, for example. But this has enabled the IRS, I believe, to triple the size of their enforcement staff in the last 2 or 3 years. And on top of that, over half of all IRS audits, and I mean all IRS audits, over half involve these 6 things that require paid preparer due diligence. So what I want people to understand is when I ask for documents that show that your child lives with you, or that your child is your child, or that your sister or your adult daughter or whoever is disabled, or whatever else we kind of need to demonstrate that you are entitled to take this tax credit, I don't do it for fun. I don't enjoy it at all. It's just work. And not only is it just work, but it's just work on an IRS program that I don't believe should exist. Quite frankly, I have no idea by what authority the IRS gets to say that I work for them, that I have to make these determinations, or more to the point, share information with them about how I make these determinations. I certainly have a duty across the board to make a good faith determination as to what's reasonable, what's not reasonable put on a tax return. But to share that information that I rely upon in making that determination with the IRS has never been a requirement until they made this program up 7 years ago. And I deeply resent it. Being an attorney, I frankly question the constitutionality of it. But it is the law, and I certainly understand why they're not going to make a special exception for tax returns prepared by attorneys. So I get that. But no, it offends me. It offends me deeply. But nevertheless, it is the law. We do have to do it. And understand, it's not that I'm worried about paid preparer penalties or anything like that. The IRS has a whole warning system that they go through, a whole series of steps they go through before anybody gets in trouble, and I'm not at step one, and really don't expect ever to be there. My concern is that I'm open year-round. My concern is that I continue to take care of my clients long after I file a return. My concern is that I'm a professional person and I like to do a good job. I believe that people come to me specifically because they're counting on me to keep them out of trouble. There are a lot of tax preparers right outside my door. There are a lot of tax preparers in our community, but they're just filling in forms, and there's no service after the sale. There's no half of them leave the country after tax season and whatnot, and whereas I stick around, and when my clients get these letters from the IRS and they're unhappy, they bring their unhappy selves into my office, and I don't blame them. They should. I'm here to help them. But I enjoy tax season. I enjoy tax season a lot because people come in. It's like they visit once a year. Most of them are getting big refunds. It's a good time. But one of the things that makes tax season fun is that we don't have very much, unhappiness after the fact. People get their random letters from the state, but that's a joke, and they just give us some things, we mail it in. Every so often, somebody comes in, they didn't give us a health insurance document, or they left out a W-2 or something, and again, that's an easy fix. But the good news is what we do not get in this office, and we never want to start getting in this office, is people coming in with letters from the IRS saying, oh yeah, we gave you a big refund, now we want to take it back because we've looked over the documentation that you had provided your, well, in my case, attorney, and we don't think it was good enough. So, understand where I'm coming from. I will try to understand where the IRS is coming from. But most of all, understand, I ask for these things because I'm trying to protect my client. And that, as I see it, is my primary responsibility. It's my being a lawyer bleeding into my role as a tax preparer. And again, I had this issue come up today, and I guess that's why I'm filming this now. I apologize if I seem agitated or irritated. I shouldn't allow that to happen to me. But as I say, I just want to do a good job for my people. and I resent the fact that the IRS demands this of anyone. Thank you.